They had doors on the sides of the cows. And I just remembered about a year ago, it was even in mainstream news, they finally showed how they opened the door up on the side of the cow and how they're harvesting things out of the cows. In this case, they were growing a particular type of biological agent in the cow's stomachs, and they had a opening on it. And here's the big story. In every major study of even basic gene splicing, gene gunning, gene editing, or just stacking, after one generation, you start getting ultra-massive mutations, and generally, in higher order life forms, erratic and aggressive behavior. Gene editing is just the beginning, though, don't worry. In Japan, to lift the ban on growing humanoids inside animals. Humans will be genetically modified for the first time in Europe. Yeah, right. It's all mainstream news now. But do I get patted on the back? No, no, no. I get ridiculed to teach all of you not to stand up or speak out. Just shut up while they vandalize the world genetic code.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
You know, I was talking about how they have these whole facilities full of cows and pigs. It's mainly what they use. They've tested it on other animals. So they can grow up humanoids inside of the animals. They don't just go in and, quote, grow a liver inside the uterus of a cow. They grow a whole package, is what it's called in the literature, and it is a humanoid. It's a genetically engineered human that then can be harvested for its organs. And you can grow the humanoid up bigger to get more product, larger organs, more organs. And look, the guys were even able to find it. You know, I mentioned, and I was told by folks that worked in these areas that they had doors on the sides of the cows. And I just remembered about a year ago, it was even in mainstream news, they finally showed how they opened the door up on the side of the cow and how they're harvesting things out of the cows. In this case, they were growing a particular type of biological agent in the cow's stomachs, and they had a opening on it. And the crew just found a whole nother one I'd never seen before with a door on the side of the cow for harvesting stuff out of their stomach. So, see, I'll tell you stuff that I've been told by people that it's classified, and then so much of it's already public. But I'm going to explain this again to everybody. 20 years ago, I began to get sent literature, mainline literature, about human gene splicing, gene guns, gene editing. So everything they tell you about in mainstream news is about 20 to 30 years old generally. And they don't want to debate about it while it's at the test phase. They only want you to know about it once they're ready to roll it out. So they knew that the 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G causes massive cancer. They knew the cell phone towers cause it. They knew the cell phones cause it back when they approved it in the 1970s. Yeah, there's PubMed, genome editing in livestock. Are we ready for the revolution in animal breeding industry? And that's from last year. This is all old news. Open season is seen in gene editing of animals, New York Times. But remember, the people that watch Stephen Colbert, when he makes jokes about this, they'll laugh even when they're driving by the genetic clinics in the next few years, where if they had the money, they could get these treatments from harvested humanoids. And now, oh, the LA Times and everybody, oh, it turns out 5G does grow rats' tumors. Oh, does kill you. Oh, cell phones do. They knew all this when they got it approved. And what am I saying here? This is all being deployed. Every study shows just regular gene splicing, regular gene stacking in crops. It's 50-year-old technology, causes genetic drift and mutations and massive cancer in lab animals. So this is being done by design. So you know what? I've wanted to support President Trump in that I know he's an anti-globalist. I know the globalists hate him. I know the power structure doesn't like him because he actually wants to be the president. I know he's done some basic things that are good for the economy and the country. But if he starts going sideways with their agenda, it's the global awakening to what's happening and nationalism and populism that I am loyal to, not Trump. And I'm not thinking Trump's even a bad guy. He's surrounded. He's being demonized. He's being persecuted. He's being lied about. He's being pressured. And there's the old trap of, sir, here's the intelligence. Okay, bomb it. My approval rating will go up. But here's the thing. I don't want my support of nationalism and of America to get in the way of the bigger issue here, that there's atrazine in the water supply of all 50 states that causes massive cancer in men and women, sexual confusion, asexual behavior, sterilization. And that's only one of these chemicals, and they know it's there, and they're doing nothing to stop it. But they'll try to tax somebody for carbon dioxide. So we're being poisoned as a species. That's a fact. And the frogs are becoming sterile en masse, and the ones that live are, quote, gay. According to scientists, they want males. And then so there's no eggs, and so they die. Transgender fish is captured, changing sex in unprecedented details for BBC Planet Blue 2 from chemicals. This is the reality. I'm showing gay frogs on screen, but see, it's all a joke because they pre-inoculate your mind so that when you hear about it, oh, that's just Alex Jones. But what about England announcing we're going to have children with 4 daddies? Those aren't people. And the new regulations and the laws about transgendered, you think it's about a man wanting to be a woman or vice versa. No. It's about the new humanoids that corporations are going to produce, that families are going to go pay for. And under the global government, you will not be able, the great law will be to say that's not a person, or that thing made by a corporation does not have more rights than me. And yeah, they're going to be 6.5 feet tall. They're going to have 250 IQs. And they're going to be programmable and controllable because they're not just going in and giving them these other, quote, super traits. They're giving them backdoor control genetic software, just like everything else the globalists give us has a backdoor, has a Trojan horse, has a whole nother use. They've been creating humanoids from female DNA only, male DNA only, and by every scientific yardstick, they're not human. But if you can't even say there's only 2 genders, male and female, then how could you ever even have a debate about a humanoid with no mitochondrial DNA? No female DNA. Women have an extra chromosome. Women have a double set of DNA. Yeah, there it is. Major journal. Programmable genomes. Programmable genome editing tools and their regulation for efficient genome engineering. Science Direct. And here's the big story. In every major study of even basic gene splicing, gene gunning, gene editing, or just stacking, after 1 generation, you start getting ultra-massive mutations. And generally, in higher order life forms, erratic and aggressive behavior. Gene editing is just the beginning, though, don't worry. In Japan, to lift the ban on growing humanoids inside animals. Humans will be genetically modified for the first time in Europe. Yeah, right. It's all mainstream news now. But do I get patted on the back? No, no, no. I get ridiculed to teach all of you not to stand up or speak out. Just shut up while they vandalize the world genetic code. Because after all, taxing carbon dioxide that plants breathe, that's how you save the earth.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Pardon me?
I think you are full of conspiracies, and I don't think that you are helping our country.
Did you know the media misrepresents what I actually say? Like, give me an example of one of my conspiracies. Come on in.
That water is making the frogs gay.
It might look like we're out in the bush somewhere, but 15 feet on either side, we're surrounded by agriculture, and the runoff ends up in this river. All of the algae is a result of all the nutrients, because a lot of fertilizers are used in agriculture. And once those fertilizers get into the water, you get these blooms of algae. Our data so far suggests that the mixture of pesticides causes an increase in stress hormones. And those stress hormones cause immunosuppression, which leads to the inability to respond to any kind of disease pathogen.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
It seems that even the tough bullfrog isn't doing so well with the toxins in this water.
I got a chant going. What about gay frogs?
It's not funny. I'm going to say it real slow for you. Gay frogs!
Hayes is testing the effects of chemicals like atrazine, a common herbicide.
We have a whole family of animals where we've eliminated the female chromosome.
Specimen 01.
These animals that we know are genetic males have been exposed to atrazine for their entire life. And many of these genetic males now are turning into females. And quite frankly, if you're a genetic male, it'd be nice if you developed as a genetic male, and now we have a chemical very common in the environment that's effectively sex-reversing animals.
Now, obviously, it's not fair to judge a guy on one isolated dumbass clip. So here's a bunch of them.
Alex is anti-gay. He's saying the chemicals are making people gay. Folks, it's making the frogs gay. 2/3 of the frogs down in Houston are bisexual. Do you understand that? Turn the freaking frogs gay. Serious crap.
The one that's sort of remarkable is this pair. These are both males. The one on the bottom, acting as the female, we affectionately refer to as Darnell. He's a genetic male that not only acts like a female, he lays eggs like a female. She has been exposed to atrazine all of her life. I don't even really know how to reference it. This is Darnell's third clutch. So Darnell has sons and daughters that we've grown up. You can see eggs in the bottom. This is actually her second clutch for today. She has been copulating for getting close to 24 hours now. This is probably one of the most remarkable things I've seen in my work.
Jones has argued that the government has the ability to control tornadoes, and that tap water is a gay bomb, and that they are putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
I'm going to say it real slow for you.
I am worried. This is the most common contaminant in ground and surface water and drinking water, and the level of atrazine that it took to make this male turn into a female is 3 times less than what's allowed in our drinking water.
You know what? I guess it makes sense that Donald Trump wants to impress Alex Jones. Why would you want to drain the swamp if not to eradicate all those gay frogs? You stay there. You two stay where you are.
It's not just a problem with frogs we should be concerned about. The water that's causing their problems is the same water that we're drinking and using to water our crops.
Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. It's not funny. I'm going to say it real slow for you.
Introducing Cellforce by InfoWars Life. Cellforce focuses on mitochondria efficiency and protection. Mitochondria produce over 95% of your energy. They are your body's cellular engines. Cellforce helps promote your cellular energy production by supporting mitochondria, much like a cellular engine overhaul, because when your mitochondria don't run at 100% efficiency, then they start producing reactive oxygen species. Top scientists agree that aging is most likely caused by cellular damage, resulting from these reactive oxygen species. The antioxidants found in Cellforce are some of the most powerful available on the market. The stronger the antioxidant, the better its ability to scavenge for these reactive oxygen species and other free radicals. Boost, protect, and adapt with Cellforce from InfoWars Life. Head to InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
A baby cow born with human-like facial features is being hailed as a god in India, with thousands of worshippers flocking to see the animal and plans to build a temple in its honor. The calf was born on the 2nd of June with eyes, nose and ears resembling a human. Although the cow died within hours of its birth, news quickly spread and led thousands of people to flock to see the body, believing it to be the incarnation of the Hindu god Vishnu. The calf has been placed in a glass box surrounded by flowers, and this video shows worshippers bowing to the carcass as they pass by. Hindus in the city of Muzaffarnagar, northern India, believe the calf is the Gokaran, 24 incarnations of Vishnu. Mahesh Kathuria, a local businessman who came to see the calf, said, "God has taken birth from the body of a local cow. We came here to seek his blessings." Religiously, it's an avatar of Vishnu. We believe it's a similar character mentioned in Bhagavata Purana, a Hindu religious text. Raja Baya Mishra, the manager of the cow shelter, said,
I think you can get out. Urgapma Mandan Kanaka. Urgapma Mandan Ali Kadratan.
Tell us. Who would be keeping this a secret?
Well, because of the consequences.
Gabe said the consequences would be too dangerous.
We're taking pictures of a lot of helicopter activity in the area. These were just taken 10 days ago.
I think that if there was some kind of secretive organization operating here, they wouldn't have a huge emblem or logo on the side of their helicopter.
The aliens are so advanced in technology, why do they leave all these physical evidence behind?
We have alternate opinions now on whether there are UFOs and extraterrestrials, or whether the craft, the unknown lights people are seeing, are really unconventional aircraft that we're using. We have to get more evidence.
We could tell where the aircraft came to. They didn't do the whole process. This is what we found inside the fetus of a mutilated cow.
But it was not a cow fetus.
Some part of it was, and the other wasn't.
What are we looking at here? Is this a head?
The cow where it was mutilated, whole inside is gone, cleaned out.
Gabe Valdez is giving us a whole new approach to the cattle mutilations he investigated. His investigation told him these were not extraterrestrials at all, but he actually saw military helicopters over these mutilation sites. During your years of investigating cattle mutilations, what is the most anomalous evidence you came across?
Well, they mutilated this animal about 40 miles east of here, and we could tell where the aircraft came to. They didn't do the whole process, and they left a fetus inside the animal.
A fetus?
Yeah.
A fetus? A cow fetus?
No, it looked like a human, a monkey, and a frog. It didn't have any bones in the head. It was all full of water.
What was the size of this fetus?
Probably about 42 inches long, but something went wrong with whatever they were doing.
What you're implying is that that cow is being used as an incubation chamber for a cloned creature.
Exactly.
My God.
What are we looking at here? Is this a head?
That's the front part is the head.
This is bizarre.
And was this open when you found it?
Yeah, it was open.
These are amazing photographs, and it's incredible that this kind of evidence was even left behind. But I'm still not convinced that this is the result of some sort of exotic testing going on at an underground base here in Dulce.
And are these the eyes?
Yes. he really had to retrieve him back in order to see them.
So there are eyes underneath
Yeah,
that fur skin going on.
Look at the ear.
That's an ear?
Yeah, that's the ear. It's an ear of the human.
What happened to the fetus?
We took it and had it analyzed. It was very confusing to the veterinarians.
Did the vet identify anything as human in that fetus?
Yeah, I think he could tell the eyes were.
Honestly, this just looks like some crazy genetic experiment gone completely wrong.
Yes.
Right.
It's madness. This is madness.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. There are cows born with 8 legs and 2 faces. I mean, this could just be some sort of a birth defect.
But they're cows, Pat. They have hooves, they have cuds.
I would say acute deformity.
Where do you have a human-shaped head on a cow?
Well, the fetus photos were horrifying. This was definitely some kind of a monstrosity. I can't say for a fact whether this is the result of some kind of genetic hybrid experiment or merely a genetic mutation, maybe even just a birth defect.
What Gabe is telling us says that there's a lot going on here that would require some sort of facility to operate out of. If that's the case,